So do you know what the purpose of this camera is? I mean, besides capturing 360-degree videos and photos, its purpose is to bring fun back into content creation like it used to be. So let's talk about why I think the DJI Osmo 360 could bring in an entire new generation of 360 camera enthusiasts. Content creation should be about fun, right? And 360 cameras are continuing to trend over the past 5 years. It's a fact. And I think it's due to the fact that not only are they improving in their capabilities and what they can do and how they look, but also because more people are learning how to just enjoy themselves once again when it comes to content creation. And I think the Osmo 360 is making the world of 360 video more approachable. And I do see a continued trend upward in this area of content creation. Now, however, there are still a few things that need to be considered if you are thinking about getting a 360 camera. But the camera that can address and minimize the negatives is the one that's going to rise above the rest in the long term. Okay, first we need to talk about the extra editing that you have to do with 360 cameras. Every single clip that you capture needs to be manipulated and trimmed to the way that you want it. And this can be incredibly intimidating for new users. Now, the biggest benefit of a 360 camera is also the reason for the biggest inconvenience, that extra time of editing. But the Osmo 360 addresses this problem with the new DJI Studio app. It's a very simple, user-friendly program, and anyone can spend just a couple of minutes using it and then be comfortable after that. However, there is one thing that I think needs to be improved, and I will discuss that when we get to the negatives about this camera. Yes, this is a sponsored video, but I'm going to tell you all of the negatives too that I found about this camera. Another thing to consider, and not even DJI can change this, but 360 video files are huge, like really huge, especially now that they can record in 8K at 50 frames per second. That's a big challenge for most computers. So I recommend that you always check the recommended computer specifications before you purchase a 360 camera, especially one of the newer ones that record in 8K. Or you're going to suffer a lot of frustration, especially when you're trying to export your files. Now, the next thing that keeps many people away from 360 cameras is the 360 camera look. For lack of a better term, sometimes the video footage just looks goofy. And for people who want exceptionally fine-tuned videos, that look is just not for them. The Osmo 360, the distortion that so many despise is less noticeable, especially with DJI's D-Warp button. It literally just looks like an action camera when you use that. And if you want to use that ultra wide look or the wide look or the tiny planet, you can still do those things. And finally, two other negatives about 360 cameras, and I think they're always going to be a negative, but they are getting better, are low light performance and audio quality. Now, these two things have just always been a struggle for most action cameras and most 360 cameras, but the Osmo 360 excels at both of these. Whether you're using super night mode or even just regular panoramic mode, this camera handles low light really well. So one of the reasons I wanted to come here to the Scandinavian Heritage Park to test out this camera is because it has some cool buildings that are dark inside. And so we're going to run a couple of low light tests with the Osmo 360, and then I'm also going to do some with the X5 from Insta360. I'm going to show you the comparisons in my comparison video between these two cameras, but for now, we're just going to take a look and see how the Osmo 360 does in these dark buildings. So this is the Gallstad Replica Church, really cool building on the property, and it's very dark inside. They do have a little bit of lighting up there. It's really beautiful lighting. A lot of people come here to get married for small weddings, but you can see the Osmo 360 does a wonderful job as far as adjusting for the lighting. And then I wanted to see what the dynamic range was. Like, this was a perfect opportunity because of this little hallway here, or this veranda, and it's got this arcade of these arches here, and you can see like it's pretty bright outside, and this hallway is very dark. And the Osmo 360 just does an exceptional job. So really, really nice. And then this is one of the smaller buildings on the property. This is a replica of one of the homes at the time. It's really cool. This one actually has 2 bedrooms, which is not very common, I guess, at the time. But the Osmo 360 does a great job. And then I put it into super night mode, and I did the same walkthrough. And I really didn't see any difference here. I think the super night and the regular look the same, but you guys let me know what you think. So in this building, I did a comparison between the Super Night mode and the regular panoramic video mode. So let me know what you think. Does the Super Night make that much difference? I don't know if it makes a difference in this situation. It might make a difference when you're walking down the street at night with the street lights and the lights from the shops and things like that, or, you know, in a bigger city, when you have some ambient light around. I don't know if it's best for this, but I guess you guys will tell me in the comments which one looks better, Super Night or regular. And it also has the best native audio that I've experienced. However, it's still not as good as using an external Bluetooth microphone. So here's the audio directly from the Osmo 360. I gotta be honest with you, it's actually pretty good compared to the other action cameras and 360 cameras that we've seen over the past few years. But it's still just so much better when you use an external microphone. Like the DJI Mic Mini, that's what I'm using right now. You can see it here on my hat. It looks ridiculous, but it's a great spot to clip your microphone if you don't have a collar. But the audio coming from an external microphone is so much better, and you're gonna get by without it, but it's gonna sound so much better and just be more pleasing to the viewer if you use a microphone like this. The stabilization on the Osmo 360 is good. I mean, honestly, they are all good these days, but even riding on my ATV, like just now with the camera bouncing all over the place, the footage comes out just great. I really don't know how we can get better with stabilization on action cameras and 360 cameras these days, but the Osmo 360 is one of the best right now. Now there is a selfie mode on this camera, which I honestly just don't understand. So here's another thing I really don't understand on this camera, and it's selfie mode. Like, what is the purpose of this? I'm holding the camera straight out with the selfie stick pointing at me. As you can see here, I'm using my meta glasses to record it, but who wants to walk around like this? Like, I don't. So I don't understand selfie mode when you can just use, you know, panoramic mode and still capture a selfie with it. So I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but I think this is not a necessary mode. Image quality has been another deterrent for potential 360 camera buyers, but with its 10-bit video recording and the ability to record in D-Log-M, the Osmo 360 has the best looking video footage that I've seen. And I've tested it against the new X5 from Insta360 just a little bit because I actually just got that camera today. But if you ask me, I think so far, the colors on the Osmo 360 look more natural. They're less saturated and more crisp. Of course, it's still a 360 camera and you're cropping into the image, so don't expect it to look like your full frame mirrorless camera. But for what it is, it's very solid. Many of you watching this video are already in the DJI ecosystem. And if you are, this camera just makes sense. It integrates with the DJI Mimo app. The mounts from the action cameras are the same, like they fit. So if you have mounts already, you can just use them on this camera. The batteries are the same, so that's pretty incredible. The build quality is the same. Like, this is a DJI product and it's made just like all of the other high quality DJI products. It feels really familiar right out of the box. And then also onboard storage is something that DJI has really taken to the next level, thankfully, and they included it on the Osmo 360, which is amazing. So forgetting to insert your memory card before you leave home is no longer a big deal, and that's really big for me. With 105 gigabytes of onboard storage, you'll have plenty of space. Now, speaking of the DJI ecosystem, one thing that I want to show you, one of the most fun things you can do with a 360 camera is to mount it on top of your drone. And I know you already have a camera on your drone, I get it, but having that 360 like view is so cool because you can pan around and look at things all around and see things in a different way that you can't see just with your drone camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hook up the Osmo 360 to my Air 3S. I did buy this mount just for this reason, and it's relatively inexpensive. It's from, I think, Start RC, and it comes with a spotlight too, so you can put a spotlight on here, but I'm just going to use it to mount the 360 camera on here. Very inexpensive, so I bought this just for this purpose. But they make it for other drones too. I think the Mavic 2 Pro. I don't think they make it for the Mavic 4 Pro, but they do have it for other drones. And yeah, you just mount it right on top here. I don't know if this is going to be high enough. I don't want to use the selfie stick, but I would maybe extend it like a couple of inches so it's off the drone more. But yeah, let's put it up in the air and see what it looks like. So this is one of the funnest things that you can do with a 360 camera if you own a drone. I remember the first time I did this, it was with a Mavic 2 Pro, and I did it in the middle of winter, and I just flew over a frozen river, and it actually got a whole bunch of views. Like, it was really cool to see that people were interested in that. So again, people were commenting like, why are you doing that? You have a camera on the drone. Why would you need to put a 360? And I'm like, because I can, because it's cool. So, but I just like the ability to kind of pan around, and I kind of like having the props in the frame. Like, I think that looks really cool. I know a lot of people, didn't like that when the Phantom first was introduced, and people are like, well, you can see the props in the frame all of the time, and people hated that, but I think it gives a really unique look and kind of an artistic look. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So yeah, pretty cool. It's not something a lot of people can do, so that makes it even more fun. You see, that's just another example of one of the many things that you can do with a 360 camera that you can't do with any other camera. So the possibilities are endless, and they're only limited by your imagination. Now let's cover some of the opportunities for improvement on the Osmo 360. First and most important, and I'm sure you've seen it if you've watched any other reviews on this camera, but the fact that you can't replace the lenses yourself is pretty significant. Now, DJI does offer repairs at a very affordable price, but the downside about that is that you have to send it in and you have to wait for it to come back to you. And who knows how long that's going to be. That could be a week, it could be 2 weeks. If these lenses were replaceable, you could be back to recording in just a couple of minutes. And trust me, you're going to break one of the lenses. Like, they're so fragile and they're so vulnerable. Use your cover all of the time. Like, if you have your camera, you should have the cover all of the time with you, because I don't know how many cameras I've wrecked just by simply setting it down and just puts a little chip in there, and that's so depressing. So yes, it's good that you can send it in and get it fixed, but it's just not as convenient as being able to change them yourself. That definitely needs to be an upgrade in the next version of this camera. Secondly, and I'll mention this in my comparison video with the X5, but there needs to be more fun modes like in the software, like a lot of different things that you can do with the footage once you capture it. Now, right now you have panoramic photo, panoramic video, super night mode, selfie mode, the vortex, and time lapse or hyperlapse. Now that's a good start, but Insta360 has significantly more user modes and post-processing features, and I'm assuming that we'll see more of those things in future updates with the Osmo 360, but it would be so nice to have them available right away when you purchase this camera. Next, the software. It's a good start, but there's one thing that I just cannot get over. When I'm using the DJI Studio app on my MacBook Pro, whenever I move the cursor around, whenever I'm editing footage, it flashes different clips and different angles on my preview panel. No matter, wherever I put the cursor, it's going to show me a preview of that, wherever the cursor is. It is incredibly frustrating. If I have the playhead positioned at a certain spot in the timeline, that's all I want to see in my preview panel. I don't want to see whatever my cursor is pointing at. Like, it's so distracting. So please fix that. Also, when you're editing video on the Mimo app on your phone, there needs to be a split feature. You know how you can razor cut or split a video clip? Right now, you can choose a clip start and a clip end, and you can save that, but you should be able to just cut a clip in half and then choose the one that you don't want and delete it, just like you can on the Studio software. And I don't know, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Like, if I am, somebody tell me, but anyway, just like, I hope they improve that if I'm doing it correctly and it's just not there. Now, I do love the fact, and this is huge, like this is major, that you don't have to download the clips off of the camera to your computer and then edit them there. You can just plug this into your computer. You can choose the files that you want, edit them while they're still on the camera, and then you export them to their computer, the edited files. So that's a really great time saver, and it's a huge hard drive space saver too. Those are the negatives, and one little positive that I wanted to mention. They're not huge deal breakers, some of which can be addressed with an update, but keep in mind, this is version number 1. So I'm certain that they're going to adjust as they move forward into this market. It's only going to get better. Now, who should get this camera? First of all, I want to say this. You don't have to be in a certain category, or you don't have to carry a certain label to be able to get something. If you want the camera, buy the camera. But if you're into action sports, like biking, skiing, motorsports, skateboarding, all of those things, this is basically a no-brainer. Like, you never have to worry about aiming the camera at the right angle, You'll get the footage that feels way more immersive than a standard GoPro or other action camera shot. This is the camera for action enthusiasts. Also, if you're a travel vlogger or someone who documents adventures or locations, this camera might also be a good choice for you. You can pack one single device and capture multiple perspectives, and you can carry around less gear because staying mobile is key for adventure travelers. And even people who do professional work like real estate walkthroughs, small business promotions, behind the scenes type content, 360 does have a place for those people as well. It adds such a unique perspective, and when people see that footage, they recognize it and they love it because it's unique, it's immersive, and it's different. So here's the big question. Do you really need a 360 camera? If you're the type of creator who wants to push creativity, who wants to have flexibility in post-production, who's willing to put in a little extra editing time and overall just have fun and do something different, then yes, the Osmo 360 makes a lot of sense. I think DJI has made the world of 360 cameras more approachable, like I said, and I just can't wait to see how they progress this over the next few years. So that's my take on the DJI Osmo 360. There is so much more to talk about on this camera, and I'm gonna do that in my comparison video with the Insta360 X5. So are you ready to get into the world of 360 cameras? Let me know down in the comments, and also let me know if you're not ready to do so and why. If you want to see more about this camera, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you join us here. Click that thumbs up button if I give you anything of value today. Thank you so much for watching the entire video. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you next time.